Welcome to Leading the Way Home. I'm Carol Murphy with Keller Williams, Greater Cleveland West. Today's guest is from Green Impressions Landscaping Services, and it's Kaitlin Donohue who is with me, and she's a member as a representative from Green Impressions with the North Coast Regional Chamber of Commerce. And Kaitlin, I just want to say thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been with Green Impressions since the beginning. I have a degree in horticulture, so I've been in the industry since '99. I went to Michigan State University and have my bachelor's degree in horticulture. I've been doing landscaping for probably 8 to 10 years, and I've been with Green Impressions since we started.
That's great. Well, I'm not going to hold anything against you since you went to a school up in that other state, yeah, with your green coat on, but that's okay. We love you anyhow.
Oh, thank you.
Kaitlin, can you give a little bit of history about Green Impressions since you said you were there from the start?
The start, exactly. Green Impressions has been a company since 2011. We used to be part of Shill Landscaping. A lot of people have heard of Shill Landscaping. Yeah. They take care of a lot of the large shopping plazas and HOAs in the area. The two brothers that own the company split the company, and so we are what used to be the residential part of Shill Landscaping. So in 2011 we split, we became Green Impressions. We are only a residential landscape company, and they now just do commercial at Shill.
Okay, very good. Well, there are so many companies that have specific areas that they like to do business in. What is the area that Green Impressions and yourself cover?
Green Impressions covers a pretty large area, but with respect to maintenance work, we are mostly Western Cuyahoga and Eastern Lorain counties, so we do a lot of Avon Lake, Westlake Bay, Rocky River, those areas. With respect to landscape work, we can go a lot further because it's a one-time project. So we can go as far as like a Chagrin or Medina or areas like that.
Okay. What type of services does Green Impressions offer?
Green Impressions is a full-service landscape company. So basically, if you can imagine it or think about it, we do it. But we do all maintenance services, which would be your lawn mowing, your pruning, mulching, any types of services that you do every year or even every week or services of that nature. We also do design build, so that could be patios or fire pits, decks, any type of services like that, irrigation, lighting, holiday decor. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, but I usually do.
Oh, that's okay. Well, when I bought my first home, landscaping to me, and that was a number of years ago, was just cutting grass and edging. So what are the trends that you're seeing in today's landscaping business?
Things have changed quite a bit since then. And we still do a lot of cutting and edging, but today's average person, they want to spend their time outside when they can, and they want it to be in an outdoor living area. So we do see a lot of people who have or want outdoor kitchens, outdoor living spaces. We put TVs outside and water features and kitchens and anything you can think of can basically be put outside. So we see a lot of people that
a much larger scope than, I'm going to say about 30 years ago or more when I bought my first home. So
I'm sure.
Things have changed in a lot of ways, not just landscaping.
That's true.
Okay. When someone hires Green Impressions to do the work in that, is there some sort of a contract, and why would that be necessary?
If somebody wants to do maintenance work with us, they don't have to have a contract per se, but it's certainly helpful, not just to us, but to them as well. If you just call up a company and say, hey, I'd like to get this work done, we can do it for you, but you're probably going to go to the bottom of the schedule. If you have a contract with us, it means you're getting priority scheduling. You have an account manager who's looking out for your interests, who builds a relationship with you, and spends time coming out there, getting to know you and what you want to have done in your yard. So there's definite advantages to a maintenance contract.
Well, absolutely, and I think the fact that there is rapport between the person with the contract and the service company
Absolutely.
Makes a big difference. Being able to
Absolutely.
talk to someone or having a contact name to talk to, and that. So it's a very valuable service, and I always agree, just like real estate, we always have to have a contract. So I think that's a valuable situation for everybody.
It is.
It's a win-win. Let's
Exactly.
put it that way. Okay, we've all seen ads on TV and information online about designing a landscape project. Can we discuss the process for designing a landscape? And
Sure.
why would I or someone watching the program want to know about the cost, what the cost of the service would be?
This is an important one because we have a lot of people that don't really understand how this process works.
Right.
If you were to call me and I come out and we discuss your yard, we try and start the process by saying, if you can wave a magic wand, what would you like to see in your yard? What do you want to, how do you need your yard to function? So we're gonna make a list of all these things, and we're gonna talk about the price that goes along with any of these services or products or projects. And from there, we then would want to talk about the actual design. And once we've established a budget and we know exactly what you want, we know what's going to go into the design, that's where a lot of time now is involved. And so there is a cost, and it depends on if it's front yard, backyard, the whole yard. But then we would create a master plan, and the master plan, we kind of what we say is you wouldn't build a house without a blueprint.
Very true.
It would be pretty messy, and people wouldn't know what they were doing.
And the walls may not be in the corner. And
Exactly.
Stuff like that.
So it's the same idea with having a plan for your yard. Oftentimes we have people that just say, "Well, just draw me something up, and we'll go from there." And on some projects that might work, but on most things you really want a master plan so people have a visual of what we believe is how the work should be done or how it should look. And it also allows people to then say, maybe I'd like this here instead of here, or things can be changed on paper a lot easier than they can be changed once they're done. So.
Right. Well, and like you say, it's just like when you build a house. If you can, some people have a hard time working off a blueprint, and but I think in landscaping, I know when we've dealt with landscapers in the past, and when we built our house and started putting landscaping in and everything else, the master plan was good to have.
Yeah, we do, and I'm sure it's becoming more and more popular. We do have 3D options as well. So you have, if you want to spend the money to do it, we can do instead of a paper 2D drawing, we can do a 3D video basically, and it's kind of neat because you in fact are then walking through basically how your yard would look and how it would flow. And for some people that's really valuable to them because looking at the 2D version, maybe it doesn't all click with them.
Right. When you're developing the master plan and the homeowner is going, well, I can't afford all of that at one time, is there an option to do things at different times and maybe a financial plan that would be appropriate?
Absolutely. The nice thing about doing a master plan is everything will flow. Even if we do things in phases, even if we say, this year I can afford the front or maybe just the foundation or hardscape and next year will be landscape or whatever the case may be, at least there's the plan there that's going to allow for year after year everything to flow because you have that master plan, as opposed to, hey, this year do a plan for the front, next year do a plan for the back. Things might not be very cohesive. So having the master plan is especially important if you're going to do things in phases. But you you can do things in any phase you would like. We do offer financing options. We do have a 6, 9, 12, and now even a 15-month same as cash financing option. So some people will do that just because it allows them maybe to do a little bit more at one time and instead of breaking it up.
I love that option because when we did all of our landscaping in our house, which was back in 1997, we did it segmented and that, but it was like we had to pay that then.
Yeah.
And so having a payment plan would have been a little easier, I think.
Yeah.
And we probably would have gotten more done,
Yeah.
You know, in
Exactly.
a year's time, so to speak.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, landscaping does add value to the home. I can say that and I can speak to it. And it's not inexpensive. Is there, and I'm not putting you on the spot, let's just say an average home in Avon Lake. And the average home in Avon Lake is probably about $250,000. Let's just use that. So we're talking about a home maybe about 2,600 square feet around. In the ballpark figure, are we looking at 20,000? Are we looking at 30,000? Just a ballpark.
I would
we're not
say,
going to hold you to it.
And it obviously it depends on if you're just talking patio, if you're talking grill and kitchen. Those
I'm
kinds
just
of things.
talking landscaping. I'm not talking
You would probably
patio.
you would
or
probably be in the $15,000 to $20,000
yeah,
range.
that's what I figured. Okay. As a realtor, I'd like to think that I'm the realtor for a lifetime with the folks I work with and get referrals from. When we first met and we were talking about Love Your Landscaper and that, can you explain to me a little bit more what you meant?
Love Your Landscaper is something that we came up with. We really find it important that the client has a good experience. You know, we've all dealt with contractors who, in the end, even if we're maybe happy with the product, we're not happy with the experience, and we wouldn't necessarily use them again and again and again and refer them to our friends and family. So our business, as many businesses, you know, there's a lot of referrals involved, and so we want to make sure that our client has a good experience with us. So, you know, for us it's important that we have a team of passionate professional individuals that care not just about doing a great job, but care about making the client happy as well. And so it's very important, you know, we always stress talking to the clients and keeping on the same page with them and making sure you're knocking on the door, and even if it's just to say, hey, I'm here today, just so that they know that you are thinking about them. You're not just trying to get in and get out and keep it moving.
Well, and I think that's just valuable information. And it's nice to know when somebody comes on the property. You know, if you're like me, I work out of a home office, and there are times I'll see somebody go by my window and I go, well, who's that? And, you know, so then I got to get up and check and see who it is and everything else. So just a ring of the doorbell to say, hi, it's me. I'm going to be doing work around. That's important.
Sure.
Okay. Now, if someone wanted to just do some, say, replacing a tree or taking some bushes out or something like that, that's considered small. Does Green Impressions do that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, it's about building relationships. You never know when that, you know, couple of plants that get replaced might turn into something more, or hopefully they love their landscaper and they refer us further on down the line. But you know, at the end of the day, work is work, and so whether it's small or large, you know, we're happy to have it.
That's great. We own a rental home here in Avon Lake, and we're starting to think about redoing the landscaping there because the home is about 20 years old now, 25 years old, and it's starting to look a little tired. And that can you, or Green Impressions actually, can you provide us with ideas about what we should do?
Absolutely. Whether it's a salesperson or a designer on our staff, somebody, if you were to call me and say, you know, come on out, let's take a look and walk around, any one of us would be happy to come out and take a look at the property and give you suggestions, especially, you know, in a case like a rental property, you're not trying to dump a lot of money into it.
Yeah.
So, we can certainly come up with budget-conscious ideas to help you possibly even keep a lot of what you have and revitalize it as opposed to replacing it, or replacing things, maybe in stages as opposed to all at once.
Yeah, it's, it looks great now, but, I'm looking at it, and I look at things a little differently than my husband does. And I'll say, yeah, it's starting to look a little tired. So, for value purposes, we need to make it look good.
Sure.
Okay. There are so many landscaping companies out there, and I know why I think and why I like Green Impressions, but let's tell our audience a little bit about what makes Green Impressions different.
Well, it comes back to the love your landscaper idea. We really do have a wonderful team of passionate individuals that are, it's not just that they're experienced and they have a lot of years behind them, and they do, but it's that they care about what they're doing, they're passionate about it, and sometimes we even get maybe a little too excited about our work, and it's like, slow down, guys. But I think that's important. It's not just about making a buck. It's about building relationships with people, and I think that's really important. Most all of our clients have my cell phone number. They know that they can call me. Doesn't matter that it might be a Sunday afternoon. They know that they can call me and I'm going to pick up the phone. And if I'm busy and I can't pick up the phone, I'm going to call them back. We really care about continuing our relationships with our clients, and it's a big important part of our business. And you don't always get that, not just with other landscape companies, but other contractors in general. You're chasing them for weeks at a time.
Sure. And it makes all the difference in the world, in my opinion. Service is the name of the game, and if you're available, like you say, Sunday afternoons, most landscapers don't want to take a phone call.
Sure.
But if somebody's got an issue or something, or they just want to say, hey, thanks for the great job, it's nice to be able to call that person on a Sunday and let them know.
Absolutely.
Okay. You mentioned earlier about fire pits and fireplaces in an exterior or an outdoor environment. Can you share a little bit about that and maybe what the trends are today?
Sure. We're seeing a lot of people leaning towards fire pits. Fireplaces are a lot more expensive, could be upwards of 3 times as the cost. And they take up a lot of space. So unless you're maybe trying to block a neighbor or block a really bad view, a fireplace you have to have the space to do it and the money to do it. A fire pit are really relatively inexpensive, and what's great about them is you can sit all the way around a fireplace. A fire pit. A fireplace, it's basically you and I and the fireplace, and the heat is right there. Whereas a fire pit, a lot of people can sit around it. You have a lot more heat coming off of it. I think it's pretty obvious from the way I'm speaking. I tend to like the fire pit a lot better. Probably the only disadvantage I can think of with a fire pit would be smoke. Fireplace, the smoke is going up and out. Fire pit, you may have some smoke to deal with, but we have, year after year we do the Home and Garden Show, and probably more than any other thing is the fire pits and the pergolas. People talk about the pergolas a lot, but we always get asked about fire pits.
Okay. Well, you just mentioned the word pergolas. Would you like to explain to our viewers? Maybe some of them don't know what you're talking about.
Sure. We have a lot of people who, especially people maybe with a newer home or even an older home, who have a lot of sun in their yard, and they find that their yard isn't functioning for them because of the amount of sun and heat, and they're looking for an attractive way to create some shade in the yard. Pergolas are a really good way to do that. I'd probably say actually all of our pergolas we make out of cedar, so they are not an inexpensive project, but they are a really attractive way to increase shade in your yard and still be aesthetically pleasing.
Okay. Exterior lighting today in the fronts and backs of homes has just come into play a lot more recently. And it does add so much aesthetic value to the property. And so Green Impressions does do that?
Absolutely. We're seeing a big move towards LED. So we're doing a lot of LED lighting. You get, longer lasting bulbs, and it's obviously we all know the advantages of doing LED. We do a lot of lighting. A lot of it too is for safety reasons. A dark house it can be a scary house.
Yeah, well, and it can be a vulnerable home.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Also. Okay, irrigation or sprinkler systems, I would assume you do those?
We do those as well.
Okay.
We do the installation and maintenance. We have a guy that's been with us for many, many years, since we were Schill Landscaping. And so he's a very knowledgeable, experienced gentleman, and we definitely take care of all irrigation needs.
Okay, that's great. And you also mentioned in the introduction about holiday lighting.
Yes.
That's getting to be more popular.
It is. I think a lot of people, maybe they don't have the time to do it, or maybe they don't want to get on a ladder and do it. Most of us don't mind maybe going out and taking care of a few bushes, but to do the whole house is another story. We actually have a software program that would allow me to come and take a picture of the front of your house and create a design based on your wishes, and in fact, and then I can even send it to you where your house looks dark, even though I probably took the picture in the daylight, and give you an idea of what we can do for you. It's all custom fit work. So I would come out, measure your gutters, measure your roof line as much as I can from the ground, and create a custom product. And we offer storage, so next year you're not down digging in the basement to get it out, plugging it in, checking all the bulbs. We take care of all of that.
That's so exciting. I wonder if my husband would allow me to do that. Maybe. Yeah. I'll have to talk to him about that.
The first year, there's obviously a big expense because you're paying for the materials, but then in following years, all you're paying is just the labor to have us come out and put them up. So
makes a lot of sense, and it looks so beautiful.
It does.
You can
really
always tell a home that's been professionally decorated.
Yes, you can.
Okay. We've got critters living under our deck right now, and I'm thinking about that deck may need to go so that we could put a patio in. What type of patio options are available in today, and is there a specialty that Green Impressions has?
Well, I would say more than anything else, we probably do more pavers than anything. We use mostly Unilock. It's a molded concrete product. If you ever look through their catalog, you would be probably shocked at all the options that they have available. I was shocked when I looked through it. So there are a lot of paver options. We probably do that more than anything. We also do bluestone, which is a natural stone. There's other natural stones as well. I love the bluestone. That's probably my favorite. I didn't say that, Unilock, but and then stamped concrete as well. I think a lot of people will choose a stamped concrete because it's cheaper on the front end. It can turn out to be probably just as expensive in the end because you're maybe resealing it every year, every other year, as opposed to a paver patio that you're not doing that type of maintenance.
Okay. Size of patios getting bigger, or with the fire pits and the exterior stuff?
I would say that there are a lot of people who they don't want to cut a lot of grass, and they don't, they maybe don't want as much greenery, unfortunately, and bigger is better. Definitely, still people are leaning towards the bigger is better mentality with a bigger patio and outdoor living spaces, so maybe even rooms, I guess you could call them. So you might have levels in the patio as opposed to just a big flat rectangle.
Okay. We have a lot of shade trees in our yard, and just solutions for a shady yard what would be the recommendation?
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You know, in fact, I was just in Avon Lake the other day at one, and you know, she couldn't get grass to grow. She can't, you know, the drainage is horrible. In her case, she was willing to maybe take down a few of the trees to try and allow some of the light through. You know, you can always increase beds. You know, a lot of times people don't, you know, they really want to try and grow grass as much as they can.
We've tried.
Yeah, most people have tried, and maybe you get it to grow that first season or until the leaves leaf out fully, and it'll grow for a little while, and it eventually it ends up dying. So I hate to see people cut down trees. I really do. I love the big old trees, but if you want grass, you have to at least get the trees thinned out, or maybe pick and choose a few to keep and a few to lose. Or try and create another type of environment underneath, whether it be mulch beds with, you know, different shade-tolerant plants, or some type of gravel paths or something like that.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you've heard about the deer problem
Oh,
that we
yes.
are experiencing in Avon Lake and have been for a while. You know, is there something that, as a landscaper, the recommendations, you know, obviously I hear all the time, well, there are plants that they don't like. Well, I put those plants in and they're gone. And so, you know, just a little bit about how we here in town can maybe keep our yards to looking good,
Sure.
even with the deer problem.
Instead of putting up a 7-foot fence, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've heard that they go over 6-foot
I
fence.
think
so.
you have. I think if you're going to do a fence, they recommend about a 7 to 8 foot. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
most people.
that's not going to be a
Yeah,
possibility.
most people aren't looking to do that. There are really good plant options. It's a matter of knowing which ones work. And unfortunately, any one of us can get on the internet and Google deer-resistant plants. And I do it all the time just out of curiosity. And most of the time there are many plants listed on there that are deer food. So sometimes it's trial and error.
Yes.
At least don't plant the plants that you know are deer filet mignon, like hostas. Exactly. I'm always amazed when people say, oh, the deer ate all my hostas. Well, why'd you plant them? You know, you have deer. So there are some good plant options out there that can be used. I do write a blog, so I probably have a million of them on my blog. There are some products that can be used too, though, and most people, the deer spray, they smell like eggs, they smell like garlic or whatever. They are really disgusting, and then it rains and you have to spray again. They're coming out with some good products now. There's one called IMG, which means I Must Garden. I love it. It smells really good, and it unless you have irrigation, you know, which of course if you do, then you probably have to reapply it a bit more. It will last about 30 days.
Wow.
So you know, the more that you get new growth, the more you want to spray, because deer are going to be attracted to new growth, and obviously the new growth is not protected by the spray. But another one would be plant skid. That one's a little messier and nastier. It doesn't smell, but so there are some options. But to me, the biggest thing is, don't plant things that they're going to eat. You know, everybody, oh, you know, I love my hydrangeas. I want hydrangeas. Well, if you want them, then
You have to
you
spray.
have to spray. You better be
maintain.
out there blowing your bullhorn at the deer or something. So really though, you know, and when we plan a landscape, especially in Avon Lake, we're looking to use plants that the deer aren't going to like.
Well, I had a funny story about a family in our neighborhood. They redid some landscaping, and you know, their two heavy-duty sons, let's put it that way, muscular sons, were going to help them. And they did all this research online about deer repellent plants and everything else, and they were so happy, and it looked beautiful. It really did look beautiful, and it couldn't have been a week after those plants were in. My husband was driving down the street, and what did he see but the deer standing in that bed eating?
Yeah.
And Bob snapped a picture and sent it from his iPhone to the homeowner saying, so much for your deer repellent plants. And the comment came back saying, oh no, I'm not going home.
Unfortunately, the deer in this area have gotten to such large
numbers.
that they will eat things that they probably weren't eating, a couple years ago. We have customers that a couple years ago, they had plants that looked fine. The deer were not touching them, but as the deer are encroaching more and more into their backyards, they are eating them. So some of it's trial and error. The other thing you can do too is, go look at what your neighbors have, or go see what other people have that's working for them. There are not a lot, but there are some that are just absolutely poisonous to deer. So those, they won't touch daffodils. They'll eat your tulips and most of your other bulbs, but they won't touch daffodils because they are poisonous to them. So there are some plants that are
How
safe
can I
no matter
have
what.
my yard with daffodils all year,
Yes,
year long? That would be nice.
Yeah, you'd probably have to have your refrigerator working on them all the time.
Yeah. Wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned a blog, so why don't you give that blog title and the contact information, how someone can call you if
Sure.
they need, some assistance.
The blog is on our website. Our website is www.greenimpressions.com, and you can find the blog on there. Somebody can also call me or email me, whatever works for them. If it's easier for them, I can send them the blog article. So my email is Kaitlin@mygreenimpressions.com. Kaitlin is Kaitlin. Most people don't get that right.
Yeah.
And then my phone number is 440-309-7617.
Okay. Well, Kaitlin, we've talked about a lot. Is there anything you think maybe you forgot to mention, or something that maybe we should highlight more?
I think we did pretty good.
I think
Carol.
we did
I
pretty
think we
good.
did.
Is right. I'm interested about the spray for the deer.
IMG. I Must Garden. I know that you can get it at Cahoon and some of the smaller nurseries. I don't think it's something you're going to find at Home Depot or Lowe's.
Okay.
But it's a good product.
It's a good
I like
product.
it. I've in fact had conversations with the woman on the phone before because I loved it so much. So I've talked to her about it.
Okay, well, I think maybe for Easter, that may be something in my husband's Easter basket.
There you go.
I don't know what else we can do, but we live in Avon Lake, and that's one of the issues that is being looked at and being dealt with eventually.
Yeah,
That's all we can say.
At some point, I think it will have to be.
It will have to be. Thank you so much for
Great.
being here.
Thank you for having
me.
me.
Your information has been valuable, and relationships is what business is all about today.
Absolutely.
So, I was happy to hear you say that.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for watching Leading the Way Home. I'm Carol Murphy with Keller Williams Greater Cleveland West, your neighborhood realtor with a world of experience.